Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Skull Session Recruiting Podcast brought to you by BuckeyeHuddle.com. I'm Marc Givler. Got Kevin Noon here today. It is a special commitment episode. Ohio State, big commitments today. The Armstrong Twins, Deontae and Devontae Armstrong from Lakewood, St. Edward, powerhouse, Northeast Ohio, commit to Ohio State here on Monday afternoon. I don't think we're surprised by this, but nonetheless, important pickups here, Kevin. Your takeaway from this kind of breaking news here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a huge get for them. I mean, now they have 4 offensive linemen in the class, 3 from within the state of Ohio, with Mark Nave Jr. out of Toledo joining the group. You get the twins. You get the twins at this point, and it'll be interesting to kind of see where they fit in, because even though, they're not necessarily the same player, and, it gives you some options. I mean, one of them might be a little more suited for tackle. One of them might be a little more suited for guard. But, I think that this was a huge get. I mean, as we've said time and time again, St. Ed's just produces great offensive linemen. It seems year in and year out, and to be able to get these guys is a huge win for Justin Fry, especially as Michigan came a knocking and really trying to run the gambit over there at St. Ed's.
Yeah, I think I've talked about this before. This was not a position that I envied Justin Fry this year. The state of Ohio has, roughly a dozen Power 5 offensive line prospects in the 2024 recruiting class. Obviously, Ohio State's not able to take all of them. Basically, they're able to take 3 of them this year, maybe a 4th if someone really kind of knocks their socks off here at camp or something in June. But, they're going to let 8, 9 Power 5 offensive line prospects go elsewhere in this cycle. So picking the right 3 was going to be very challenging here for Justin Fry. I think his biggest challenge in this class is making those decisions and picking the right guys. Now, we won't know for 3 or 4 years who picked the right guys here. But what we do know is he targeted Nave and he targeted the Armstrong twins. Those are the 3 guys he zeroed in on this winter. And he's let some other guys commit elsewhere, even to Michigan. And so it was imperative not only to pick the right 3, which again, we won't know for a little bit, but it was also imperative to get the guys he targeted, because when you make it known kind of who your targets are, that's going to push guys somewhere else that you don't offer.
We froze here for a second.
Guys,
so
you offer.
There you go. Okay, yeah, we froze for a second. Keep going though.
Yeah,
live television, how it works.
Yes. So he really needed to make sure that he had a good handle on the 3 that he offered and was going to be able to land those guys, because you miss on a couple of those guys, now you've got some problems on your hands where, your plan Bs have probably committed somewhere else, and so now you're down in your plan C. You don't want to ever be down there. So this was important to get these guys in the fold. You're getting them in there early. So you've got, your 3 in-state guys. You've got Ian Moore, who's a tremendous prospect out of Indiana. This is going to be at least a 5-man offensive line class. It might get to 6. So now you have all this time now. You've got, 9 months to really focus on your top couple of guys out of state and try and cap this thing off. And get a head start on 25. So getting these in-state guys in there early, I think, is really important.
Absolutely. And I was going to say it's so important to get these guys early, because while you're still going to have to recruit them throughout, it's a lot easier to recruit a guy that's within the state of Ohio than landing a guy out of Georgia or California or Arizona and then trying to hang on for dear life at this point. And, these are guys that I think that you're going to be able to sit there and show the value of the staying close to home NIL type of situations. I mean, I think that these guys are going to be able to get all the car dealerships around, around home and everything else. So, I mean, it's very important. But your point, not to be understated, is yes, you called your shot. If you're Justin Fry, you called your shot. These are the 3 guys that I've decided that I want to go after. And if you came up short, and especially with the Armstrong twins being we say that package deals never work out. Well, when you're a twin, I think that that's a little bit different. If you sit there and you strike out there, exactly how do you go back and double back to some of these guys who you've not shown the attention to, that you've not had on the visits? I mean, the Armstrong twins were at Ohio State scrimmage here on Saturday. We're definitely getting shown around by all the right people. We're able to kind of step in and really watch the drills, watch what it's going to look like when they get to Columbus. If that fell apart or something like that, you've got a lot of backtracking to do. And is it a case of do you have to go even a little bit lower in the state of Ohio because you have alienated yourself from some of these other guys who are probably pretty much on the same level? Or do you have to sit there and are we looking at out of state recruiting? And as I mentioned earlier, you never know what you're going to get there.
Yeah, I mean, they clearly had a plan here, and they were very methodical with this. They were with the Armstrong twins, especially. They camped last summer. They were very good that day, but they really had very little varsity film at that point. Playing at St. Ed's, which is just an unbelievable program, especially with producing offensive linemen. They were not kind of impact guys as sophomores. They've been like kind of later developing prospects. And so I'm sure they liked what they saw in June, but they weren't ready to go on them. So they watched the film. They have great junior seasons. They anchor the left side of the St. Ed's offensive line, wins another state championship, Division I, in Ohio's biggest division. And they go all in at that point. And so hats off to Fry for, going 3 for 3 in state. It sounds like it should be easy. It historically hasn't always worked out that way. They haven't always batted 1,000 in Ohio. So he's doing what he needs to do on that front. Do we have the video? We do.
Do you want Devontae or Deontae first?
We can go with Deontae first. That's fine. So Deontae's left tackle here, number 74. So he is more of the prototypical tackle body, 6'7". He's listed like 275. I think I saw him on Saturday. Boy, as that kid filled out his frame. There were some issues early on in his high school career where we weren't really sure, like, can his frame, is he broad enough to the frame carry, to carry the weight and stay outside and play tackle, or is it more of a guard? That was answered for me, not only this fall, I think, but also, seeing him walking around Saturday. He is just, boy, is he taken off physically, and just, again, he's going to be one of those 6'7", 320-pound left tackles, super long, athletic, good bend. You'll see on the film here, you play at St. Ed's, you better run block. In fact, if you play at St. Ed's and you don't run block, you don't play. So, you're always gonna get physical linemen coming out of St. Ed's. Good plays with good leg drive. Even though he's tall, he's able to kind of stay low and play with leverage. He's not a guy who plays super high. That can be an issue again for some of these like 6'7" guys. Doesn't do that. Finishes his blocks. He to me is the pure tackle body of the two. And then when you get to Devontae is going to be more of your guard body. He has the athleticism to play on the edge. It's not that he doesn't have good feet. He actually has tremendous feet, but he's more your 6'5" and a half. So they're not identical twins. Deontae's a little bit taller, a little more that stout guard build, but very athletic, easily getting out to the second level. He kind of has that coordination. You connect. Some guys you can get out to the second level easy. You got great feet, but you don't hit on your blocks. You're just out there kind of running around like a chicken with your head cut off. So he's able to kind of connect on those blocks. You can pull him around. You see him down blocking there. So he's just a guy who I think is always generally going to have the athleticism advantage, which isn't always the case when you talk about interior guys. Some of these pluggers, you got to win on technique. You have to win with, toughness and, all that other stuff. But, Devontae is someone who can actually win. He got a little bit of Donovan Jackson. I would not quite have him quite as highly coming out of high school as Donovan, but one of those guys who isn't just a plugger that's playing inside. He's got some real finesse to him. He's got great feet. But again, like his, like I was saying about his brother, you don't play at St. Ed's if you don't run block. So he's mean, he's tough. The intriguing thing for me with these two is, as you see them kind of next to each other there in pass pro, they anchor that left side of the line. That's awfully intriguing to me at the next level, is just letting them just do that. You could maybe play the game with Devontae. Oh, maybe you can make him a center, or could he play tackle too? But these guys, not only are they twins, so there's like a natural like chemistry there. There's a natural like, I know what you're thinking, you know what I'm thinking, but they play next to each other, so they have the on-field experience as well. That just feels like, put them on the left side when they get to Ohio State and just let them go. And just, I mean, chemistry is so important on the offensive line, and I just think that's, to me, is just a no-brainer. You just kind of let them do what they've always done, play next to each other, and maybe you get, maybe not apples to apples completely, but maybe you get a Pouncey Twins situation where it just works, playing next to each other. So that's the intriguing thing, I think, for me in all this. But, the last thing I'll say about these guys, that I've kind of broken them down a little bit individually, but as a duo, not only did they get a lot better as football players, sophomore to junior, the physical development. I mean, Kevin, you've seen them too. I mean, you saw them at camps like a year ago, and then you saw them Saturday walking around, and I had seen them at the state championship. The physical development, I mean, they are not like, you're not looking at them anymore as like, oh yeah, that's a 2 or 3 year project physically that they've got to fill out. Like they have made incredible strides, I think, in the last like 12 months physically.
Yeah, I mean, certainly walking around at the Woody on Saturday, they look like guys that could just probably step right in and take a rep in the drill. They had that look to them. Maybe not so much at the camp last spring. Again, we got to remember, we're talking about 16-year-old kids, 17-year-old kids now, whatever. I mean, I'm not sure when their birthdays are. Wouldn't put it out there for any of you identity thieves anyway, but these guys certainly have filled out, and there's still a lot of work to do. I mean, you get to a collegiate program and you get on their strength and conditioning program, and guys that are listed in databases right now at whatever, at 280 and 270, whatever they're listed, they're going, I mean, as Mark said, one's going to probably play it, in the low threes, and then the other one might play 295, 300. Just depends on how the frame works in terms of how it hangs on to weight. I mean, let's remember, there certainly have been guys like Nick Petit-Frere who couldn't put on weight to save his life. These guys don't appear to be in that type of situation. They're not going to have to get up at 3 a.m. and have 2,000 calories and go back to bed. It's so important for Ohio State to get guys that are going to be able to step in sooner rather than later. And that's not saying these Armstrong twins have to be ready to go as true freshmen, but Ohio State's had misses. The Greg Studrawa era was very inconsistent in terms of what the success of offensive linemen were. And there's still some guys right now that are going to be going through spring, and we're going to see if they're going to remain with the program or hit the portal once we get out of spring. So that's going to mean that all of these guys that Justin Frye is going after right now, they better be ready. And because opportunity doesn't knock a lot of times, especially at the highest of levels. So, I think that this is a huge get. I think that right now with the 4-man class that Ohio State has, it is a very strong class. I don't see anybody in there that's like, oh, well, that guy's a bit of a flyer. I mean, these are all guys that you are expecting to work out. Now, that doesn't always happen, but I really like this class so far.
Yeah, and I like the balance they've put together on this O-line class, specifically, obviously. You've got Ian Moore, who is going to get his first crack at tackle. You've got Mark Nave, who is almost certainly going to be a guard. And then you've got the Armstrong twins. And again, Deontae's going to be a tackle. Devontae's probably going to be an interior guy. So you've got balance already. You likely have 2 tackles and 2 interior guys right now. And now you can star chase nationally. Not that these guys aren't stars in their own right, but now you can kind of zero in and say, okay, who are like the best 3 offensive linemen in the country? And we're just going to recruit those guys, and we're going to try and get at least one of them. And so you get like Gerby Lambert and Jordan Seaton and these guys that they've been recruiting. And, those are now guys they can put all of their energy into. And as well as getting a head start on a 2025 class that's got some promise, especially in state with Carter Lowe at Toledo Whitmer. So it's a really good start for Justin Fry. I think everyone's ultimately going to judge this class on if they can get one of these big national names to go with Ian Moore and with the Ohio guys. I think that's going to be kind of the thing that kind of tips everybody. I think, that'll be obviously something he's got 9 months to take care of, but so far so good. And, like the 4 they've got, and they all fit well together. And so we'll see how he does in terms of landing this last 1 or 2 spots, but good start. Probably going to be a big spring for Ohio State in recruiting. We've got more coverage at BuckeyeHuddle.com. More in-state offers going out, more out-of-state offers going out. Got some visitors coming in, some big stuff with, Aaron Nolan's coming in in a few days. And so might have some clarity on quarterback recruiting here in the near future. We'll be getting into all that at BuckeyeHuddle.com and on the message boards and stuff like that. And obviously we'll be recording news as it happens. So stick with us here at BuckeyeHuddle.com, YouTube.com/BuckeyeHuddle as well. And you can obviously download this in audio format on all of your podcast platforms. But we got to hit the boards. We got to talk about these commitments. So we will see you over at the website. And thanks for listening and watching, and talk to you soon.